So I'm doing a bulk order with Hair Today because I have discount points. So I actually got, I think it was 12 pounds of food for Jericho completely for free just using those discount points. I'm gonna be honest, Jericho's diet is not completely balanced right now. I'm kind of balancing it as I go, adding new things to his diet. So I kind of just eyeball it. I know that's probably not good for me to say, but that's what I do. So I am pretty much done with my nutrition program. I'm taking it with the College of Veterinary Therapies, and I just finished the last lesson, but I still have to do some assignments. But it does come with access to the animal diet formulator, and that's what I'm going to use to balance Jericho's diet. Right, Jericho? What's he doing? What's he doing? He's a sleepy boy. Sleepy, sleepy boy. He's in his classic spot, relaxing. So first, as a starting point, I'll use Hair Today's raw food ratio calculator. And this will help you get to an 80-10-10 ratio so that you know how many of each ingredient to add to the software, and then you can balance it from there. So you would select cat, and then all of the goals, the low and the high percent for meat, bones, and organs will populate. And then you'll see this graph on the bottom, and it'll say results, recommended, and actual. And as you start adding ingredients, the bar graph will show you what's in the food details that you're adding versus what's recommended. But I found that even this 80-10-10 ratio, it's a good start, but I found that when I put it into Animal Diet Formulator, the calcium and phosphorus ratio is off. So you'll still have to adjust how much meat and how much bone you're adding. Additionally, the ratio calculator is just a ratio. It doesn't take into consideration each ingredient's nutrients. So again, you'll have to formulate and balance it inside the software. So Animal Diet Formulator is a paid software. I can't really show you the insides of it, but I'll put up a little pop-up of their My Pet Recipes app because they have that on their website, just showing little screen recording of how it works. And in my cat nutrition course that I'm creating, I'm gonna go through all of this and you'll know everything about nutrition that I know, and I'm going to talk about formulating recipes as well. So check the description for the link to enroll. All of the videos are on YouTube, and when you enroll in the course, you also get access to the PDF slides. So I have Jericho's diet. It's basically balanced. The only thing that I'm missing is potassium. So I'm gonna start with this and see how he does for a few weeks and do a little more research about potassium and see if I can fine tune it. But I think for now, this is better than nothing. So I gotta write out these ingredients and then feed Jericho and then portion out his food and test a new tool that I'm so excited about. So I'm gonna do everything in grams because that's a little more accurate and it's easier to round up without making everything unbalanced. When you do ounces, it gets a little weird. So I did everything in grams. I'm not really gonna share like the specific amounts of each ingredient because this is specific to Jericho. So balancing recipes is super important to do it to the individual cat's needs. That's why I'm gonna teach you how to balance. All right, so let's go feed him and portion his food. Can't forget that egg yolk. Oh, Jericho's going for it right away. So I started cutting up the quail into two pieces, so the top part and the bottom part, instead of individual pieces that I feed throughout the week. I just think that this is better to get just for mental stimulation and enrichment and some challenging so that he can gnaw through the whole thing instead of a small piece. And before I just put it in a warm water bath just so that it isn't straight cold from the refrigerator. Jericho loves his egg yolks. He loves lapping that up. So typically what I do is I'll just save the yolk from whatever I'm making that day. Okay, so now I'm gonna get my meal prep areas. This is the food mat and my digital scale. This weighs in ounces, grams, and pounds. Stainless steel plate, gloves, and my cutting utensils, so the shear and the scissor and the spoon. And I have these bags that are for my new tool and my diet sheet. And I have to get these little jars because there's going to be a lot of liquid from the packs. So I'm gonna use these little jars to save the liquid and then feed it to Jericho throughout the week. Okay, so I've got my thawed meats here. And I'm gonna start with the turkey thigh, and just because that's the base of the meat. Oh, I got blood everywhere, and that's exactly why I use the garbage bag. Forgot that I got these bags at Target, so they are freezer safe and they stand up, which is super convenient. So I'm gonna put my gloves on, get everything going. Everything that I'm using in this video, I put links in the description below. So I have a meal prep supplies list that's on Amazon. You can get pretty much everything there if you can't find it at a local store. So like I said, I'm gonna save these juices because I want Jericho to get all of the nutrition that he possibly can. Taurine and a lot of other nutrients are water soluble, so you definitely wanna save these juices. It's called the myoglobin. So I'm gonna save this and add it to his food as I portion it out. So first I'm gonna start with the boneless turkey thigh. This is the base of the recipe pretty much. And I'm just gonna leave it in large chunks because I'm going to use my new kitchen tool to freeze a bunch of different weeks in advance. So I'm just gonna keep them in chunks for now, and then each week when I portion it out, I will cut it up into smaller bite-sized pieces. So for now, I'm going to leave them in large chunks. That way all of the moisture can stay inside the chunks while it's in the freezer. And then again, each week I will cut them down into smaller bite-sized pieces. Next, I got the chicken wings. So this is part of Jericho's raw meaty bones, great source of calcium. So I'm gonna weigh each of them and cut them up based on how much I need for 1 week's worth. And I'm gonna do the same thing here, just leave the bones completely intact and then just cut them up individually each week when I need to use them. Now I've got some chicken necks, another source of raw meaty bones and calcium. There's also a lot of fat on these because they have the skin, and that's great because the turkey thighs are pretty much fat-free, and the other meat that I'm using, the beef grind, is 80-20, so there's some fat in there. But I also want to include the skin here just for that extra fat. So I'm going to weigh those out and maybe cut them up just in case like I need a little bit. Like the bad thing here is that they don't weigh exactly the amount that I need every week. So I'm going to have to chop them up into smaller pieces. But you always want to make sure that they're large enough for the cat to actually chew. Next, I got some turkey hearts, great source of taurine, and these are kind of in larger chunks and smaller chunks in the bag. That's just how they came because they're kind of like forced together into blocks. Some of the pieces come apart, but that's what they look like, super dark, super rich in taurine and a lot of other essential nutrients. And these are nice to bite through and chew through as well. So basically I'm going to go through all of the individual ingredients and do the same thing, leave them in chunks, weigh them out week by week, put them into these bags, and then I'm gonna use my new tool. So I've got all 4 of these weeks here that I have in these new bags, and here's my new kitchen tool. It is a food vacuum sealer. I've never used one of these before. This is the first one that I've ever owned. So it comes with a roll where you can cut your own size bags, but it also came with these individual bags that I'm using. So I'm just gonna try to see how this works with everything kind of lumped together. And there's a drip tray right there where you put it over so that any moisture that comes out will go into that drip tray. So you push it down to the operate and then you hit vacuum seal, and let's see how it does. There's a lot of moisture coming out. You can see it running through. So after it takes the vacuum seal out, it also seals the bag, and then you can open it. So let's see how it did. It looks like there's a lot of juices on the top of it. Still seems pretty mushy, like there might be still some air in there. So we're gonna have to see how it does in a week, in 2 weeks. I don't know. It seems kind of mushy and loose though, but it did remove a lot of the moisture. So here's some of that myoglobin that's in the drip tray. I'm gonna put that into a container and save it. And I'm gonna see if I can squeeze some of this moisture out, because maybe it'll form a better seal if there's not a lot of moisture in it. I don't know, it's gonna be difficult because everything's just in there, just like globbed in there. So I'm gonna try to squeeze out some of this moisture and see how that does. So I'm gonna set it again to operate, and I just realized there's actually a button on here that says dry and moist. So I forgot to change that to moist. So we're gonna hit vacuum seal again. Let's see how it does. Hopefully this will, no, there's still a lot of moisture coming out. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to best utilize this. If any of you have used it, let me know in the comments your best tips and tricks. And see, now it'll seal, and then you can't open it until that red light turns off. So now that the red light's off, I'm gonna go to open and see how it did. Still a lot of moisture at the top and in the drip bag. It looks like it's getting a lot of the air out, but it's still pretty mushy, and there's still a lot of moisture in the drip tray. So maybe if I kind of make everything flatter, I don't know, if I take up more surface area and try to like get everything more compact, and then like really push, I'm gonna push this in there so that it, you know, I just wanna make sure that none of the moisture gets anywhere. So it looks like there's still a lot of moisture coming out, and Jericho's like, what the heck is that? It does make some noise, but it's not too loud. So for this one, I'm gonna put the quail and the duck in there, see if maybe that'll soak up some of the moisture, and then get it down real flat. This is one of the larger bags that it came with. So it comes with that roll where you can make your own sizes, and then it comes with these larger bags that you can use just as a starter kit, and then obviously you can buy more refills online. So let's see how this one does with the whole prey in it. I'm hoping that it'll soak up some of the moisture. I don't know. Oh, that seems to work a little. Yeah, it looks like it's getting a lot of the moisture onto the quail instead of coming out of the bag. So that worked a little better. And there's less moisture at the top of the bag, so that definitely helped. I mean, it still seems a bit mushy and all over the place, so I still have some tips that I need to figure out. It looks a little loose, like there's still some air in there, but definitely better than without using it, for sure. So now I'm just gonna do the leftover ingredients that I have, like the chicken wangs and the rest of the meat ingredients, and see how that does, because I can make my own size bags with this roll, but first I have to turn it upside down to use it properly and make sure that it goes under the thing that you use to cut the bag. Maybe I should read the instructions first. So first you want to seal the end of the bag, and then you can put the ingredients in, and then you can vacuum seal it, and then it'll seal the other end of the bag. Cut off a little more than I needed, but it looks like this one vacuum sealed pretty well. There's still some moisture that comes out, but it looks like since this one's more compact, maybe that's why it doesn't feel as loose, and Jericho's just making sure that I do it properly. So I also portioned out Jericho's weekly meals. So I have 4 weeks in storage, and then this week for his meals each day. And I have everything of his, I switched my freezer around. So everything of his is on the bottom, and then everything of mine is on the top, including my white oak pastures.